Hello there, fabulous people, and this is the finale video for Finding Purpose Fridays, even though I'm recording it on a Sunday, but life happens, right? Okay. Now, it's the finale in the sense that this is pretty much as far down the road as I can take you with this, having done it on the YouTube platform, okay? Your work, on the other hand, definitely does not stop here at all. If you really have been working, if you have been following along with all the prompts, and if you actually want to use these tools to move forward and live a life that energizes you, that makes you feel connected and aligned to yourself. So this is the point where we kind of just put everything together. And I say we just put everything together, but on your end, and I've done it on my end because I've said from the beginning, I have followed along with this. I have done it all. It's about going through everything we have done thus far. So we started out by composing our list of what we no longer want, what we want to kind of get rid of from our life, what does not energize us, you know, and that's where we started, and then we kind of put that one aside. And then we've gone on and we've done things like writing down all the things that have brought you joy in your lifetime, everything, even things that seem pointless and mundane, right back to your earliest memories up until today, things that make you happy, that give you energy when you do them. And then we took that and we put it into categories. So whether that was, you know, whether it fell into the family category, the social or connection category, the spirituality category, the career category, and we looked at all that. And then we talked about our values and identifying values. We took that further into discussing actually applying those values to ourselves, okay? And if you followed along this far and gone through it all, you know what I'm talking about. If this is the first one in the series you're watching, then you know, you're welcome to go back and watch them all and do it at your own pace. So we want to take everything now. We want to set everything out that we have done in front of us, okay? Because we want it fresh in our mind. And the number one thing we did that's going to compose the next steps for you was having made that list about what brings us joy, and even more importantly about that, how we categorized it, okay? That's where we're going to take moving forward from. But everything else we've done is super important. You want to have that list of what you no longer want to put up with in your life, of what you don't want, of what brings you down, of, you know, what drains you of that energy. You want that there as that constant reminder as you do the next step. But the number one is that list we composed and then the categories we put it into. And from there, and again, it's very hard to get too in depth or specific because everyone's lists are going to be so different. And doing this as an open public kind of a thing, as opposed to like a closed group where I could actually help and you know, you can check in and ask those questions. And you know, I can't give that sort of support by doing it through YouTube. But you want to look at the categories you've got, and let's say you've divided everything into, like, you've got 8 categories in total, okay? And it might be things like fun, the social and connection, the family, career, spirituality, you know, however else you categorize them. And you want to look at which categories first and foremost bring you the most energy and bring you the most joy, okay? And there might be 4 of those 8 that are kind of just a little bit more up there, okay, as far as energizing you goes. This has nothing to do with you thinking about what you should be doing, what other people expect of you. This has nothing to do with, well, I can't make a career out of that, so that's clearly not important. No, it is 100% about what energizes you the most. So let's take 3, for example, okay? Let's take fun, connection, and spirituality. And if these are the ones that you get the most energy from when you're engaging in the activities that fit these categories, then you need to prioritize these things in your life. That doesn't mean you have to go and attempt to do every single thing that you've put under connection, or every single thing you've put under spirituality, and every single thing that, you know, is under every one of these lists. It doesn't mean that you're trying to go and achieve all of those things, okay? But what it means is that you need to find something in that category, in those most energizing and important, therefore, categories, and start making it a priority to put them into your day, okay? And the idea when we start talking about this can feel quite overwhelming. It's like, well, I'm busy enough. I've got kids, a partner, you know, people I'm caring for. I've got a job. I've got this, that, and the other going on. I get that. But the busier you are, likely the more stressed you are, and therefore the more important putting these things into your daily life are. It's, you know, something I heard once, and I don't know who said it, but it was a quote that sort of went something like, if you don't have time to meditate for 5 minutes, then you need to be meditating for an hour. And that same kind of principle applies here, all right? So I'm not saying that you have to spend an hour every day doing these things. And if you've got 8 categories that are really important to you, that do bring you energy, I'm also not saying leap right in and make sure that you do one from all of those 8 categories every single day, 7 days a week. Because we don't want to overwhelm you and make this stressful. This is about improving your life. This is about you becoming more connected to yourself, your soul, becoming aligned with your purpose. But what you can do is, and I know this because I have done this, okay? And I am not the most organized person in the world. But it's about, let's say, from the connection category, that on a Monday, you're going to schedule in time for connection, whatever that looks like for you. And yes, if your main energizing connection is actually going out and socializing, which is obviously not an easy thing to do right now, depending on where you're living, it might mean that you have to get creative, that you have to have a Zoom kind of chat with a friend, but make something of it. Do it over dinner, do it over a glass of wine. Like, if you're into the same kind of hobbies, if you're into tarot, do it with tarot. But schedule that in. And then let's say spirituality, if that's really important. Well, if you feel really overwhelmed at first, maybe it is about just scheduling 1 or 2 days a week where you prioritize that. Even if that prioritizing it is only like 10-15 minutes in your day. And, you know, then if it's around fun, you might choose to pick a different day of the week, physically schedule it in, okay? Whatever kind of scheduling tool you use, schedule it in. And if you don't use a scheduling tool, if you're not someone who uses any kind of planner, calendar, nothing, then set alarms on your phone that will go off as reminders on these days of what you have chosen to make a priority. And adding one thing from whichever category you're choosing in every day, and it doesn't have to take up huge amounts of time, all right? For me, when I think connection, sometimes that's just sending a glide message to a friend and then waiting to hear the response back. I can send that glide message and I can feel really happy after it. It just boosts me that little bit, because even though that's not a full connection, it's just sending a video message, to me that falls into my connection category and it's important, okay? Obviously some things will all fit together, like certain aspects of my spirituality also very much fit in with the connection, you know, aspects. And so again, these things will overlap and that's okay, but start prioritizing them. Start by picking one thing from your categories and scheduling it in for 10 to 15 minutes every day. And start small, okay? If, let's say that connection is at the top of your list of what energizes you, and you want to have a goal of, well, therefore, connecting in some way every day, I need to prioritize. That's great, and that's going to be important down the track. But to not overwhelm you to start with, start small. So if that is the number one, you might want to schedule that in for Monday, Friday, Sunday, that you are going to make connection a priority. And then after doing that for so many weeks, and on your other days you've scheduled in the other things, like whether it's fun or, you know, career, like, you know, you might want to be learning more knowledge or something, studying more for your career or that kind of thing. Adding those things in so that every single day there is at least one thing that energizes you. And then after doing this, and it's going to depend on you, it's going to depend on you, your lifestyle, your ability to organize. Mine is not good, plenty of people is better. So for me, it can take me a good couple of months before I get even the slightest thing down pat as, you know, something new to my routine and prioritizing it. And I've come to be okay with that. For other people, it might be a week or 2 weeks of doing, you know, the one thing a day, and then all of a sudden, if connection was your number one, you started with 3 days a week as it being your priority, within a week or 2 weeks, you might be able to add that up and make that a 5 day a week and still have your other things on the other days, because we don't want to let these slide. And you can change from week to week. There's 7 days in a week. If you've got 8 categories and one of them is so important you're putting it in 3 days a week, swap and change the others around. That's okay. But it's prioritizing something every single day from this list you have created and building up. So eventually you have this day by day where these things that energize you become more and more important. And you may never be able to schedule in like all of, you know, the categories every day, even after doing this for a year, and that's okay. Certain categories, like connection for you, might not be a top priority. It might be a once a week thing, and that's enough for you, and that's okay. And that's why I'm saying it's very hard for me to do this one, because there's only so far I can take people as a collective, not working one-on-one or in a closed group or that kind of thing. And the reason we do our values sheet and we have that there, why we're looking this over and we are literally scheduling it in as we're going through it, is reminding yourself that if one of your values is kindness, that if you're sitting there scheduling this in and you're freaking out like, oh gosh, such a busy day, can't do it, apply that value of kindness to yourself. Be kind enough to yourself to allow yourself 10 to 15 minutes at least in a day to prioritize this thing that energizes you, because these things all build up, and it could be the tiniest things, but they all build up to help us form that beautiful alignment to our true inner soul, our true purpose. And it's ongoing, and at times it may change. Something that once energized you in 6 months' time might become a chore. Doesn't mean you keep doing it. Change it. Something that once you thought was a chore may become something that energizes you. Change it up, work with it. Ensure that none of these things you're scheduling in fall into that category of what you do not want from that very first list we created. And ensure that when you start to worry about fitting them in, or if you're good enough to do it, or what will other people say, get that values list out and apply that to yourself. So that's the sum up, and I wish I could do more. I wish I could have everyone just sitting in front of me and we could talk it through and we could plan it together and do it together and sit there and make our schedules. But it's not possible here. However, if you have questions about any of the weeks that we've done, about putting it all together, you are more than welcome to put them in the comments. And if there are enough questions, I'll come back and I'll do like a Q&A on everything we've gone through. Or you've got questions that might be outside of what we've talked about when it comes to finding purpose, then pop them into, and I will come back and I will do a video answering those questions. And you know, the other thing is, if there's one thing you're struggling with but it's a little more personal, you're welcome to email me or reach out to me on Facebook. I have the Facebook group now. It's very new. There's not a great deal in there, but it's there because I'm in the process of setting up for our next tarot and like mental well-being little mini free group thing that we're going to be doing, which for those who've already told me should be starting in about a week, but I'll be in touch as this week goes on to let everyone know that that's actually happening. But you can email me, and if it's something that you want to really deep dive into, that you want to get to the core of, that you really want help with the inner work around this, you are more than welcome to book a consultation. And you know, we can do it around a tarot reading, and we can do it with specifically looking at this and then giving you the practical tools to kind of take this further. So you are welcome to do that as well. So that's it. If there is enough people asking open questions and not private, obviously I'm not going to come back with the private questions, then I'll be back to do a Q&A. If not, thank you to everybody who has partaken in this, and I hope that it helps, even in some slight small way. All right, I will catch everyone in the next video, and I'm sending loads of love to you all, and good luck, and please reach out if you need to. All right, love to all. Bye.